Let's call this meeting to order. Rhonda, is there any additions to the agenda?
Chairman, we don't have any additions. However, I need to alert you that we do have 2 items being pulled per staff request. Item 2B as in boy, existing litigation is doc number 3515 under closed session. And the other item is 7D as in dog, which is doc number 3540, which is your special district's board of directors for maintenance district 28, Ripperton. Thank you.
Very good. County Counsel, would you read off the items to be discussed in closed session?
Sure, Chairman. There are 5 items for closed session today. The first is conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. The county negotiators are Adrian Caleb, and the employee organizations are all unit. There are 3 existing litigations pursuant to Government Code 54956.9, subsection D1. The names of the cases are ACLU of Northern California versus the County of Madera. The second case name is County of Madera versus H. Hinton. And the final case is an administrative case, EEOC charge, J. Baker versus Madera County District Attorney. And the last item is a public employment appointment pursuant to Government Code 54957. The title of the position is Director of Water and Natural Resources. Thank you.
Any comments from the public on the items just mentioned? If not, we'll go into closed session. County Counsel, is there anything to report out of closed session?
Chairman, there are no reportable actions at this time.
Okay. The invocation will be provided by Roger Leach and Pledge of Allegiance by Major.
Thank you. It's my honor to be here again this morning to again open an invocation and to again look at the wording underneath your county crest of In God We Trust. And so with that, let's open in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you this day that we can bring your blessings into this chamber. We ask that you continue to bless the employees and the Board of Supervisors. They continue to do the work. Lord, I'm reminded of the words that are found in Proverbs chapter 13 about that there's abundance in fallow ground of the poor. Lord, all we have to do is start to change things around a little bit, and we'll find the richness in that soil. I thank you that there's never an ending in the beginnings of you. There's always creation. And I thank you that we don't live in the echoes of yesterday, but in the freshness of a new word, a new voice that will continue to go forward. Lord, I thank you for the destiny of Madera County. I pray your blessing over it and the blessing of this meeting. We pray that in your name. Amen.
Please join me in saluting our flag. Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Folks, we're going to open and close in memory of Vincent Gonzalez, which is my chief of staff's brother. I believe he was 42 years old. Vince was born April the 28th, 1975 in Madera, California, and was raised in Chowchilla, California. He was a devoted family man. He most enjoyed spending time with his wife, and he had 5 children. They spent a lot of time traveling to visit family near and far. He was incredibly funny, always looking for ways to make those around him laugh. He was also very thoughtful. He always took the time to help those in need. He loved to sing. He loved to dance. He also enjoyed barbecuing, maintaining his yard, and working on his truck, and spending time with his friends. Visitations will be Tuesday, December the 12th, 2017, from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., with visitation of the Rosary beginning at 7 p.m. at Jay's Chapel in Madera. A Mass of Christian burial will be Wednesday, December the 13th, 2017, at San Joachim Catholic Church in Madera. Interment will follow at Arbor Vita Cemetery in Madera. Mr. Wheeler?
Yes. I knew Vincent quite a bit. He used to come up to my cabin with his kids and stuff, and not only a great guy, he was really a hard worker too, but I also have one. We lost a great lady up at O'Neill's, Pat Washburn. Ryan, actually, her maiden name. The Ryan Ranch in Hildreth has been there for a couple hundred years, probably 150 anyway. And she was 91 years old, and she passed away a couple weeks ago. And she was a great lady. She had done so much for 4-H and FFA kids that you can't even believe. So we're going to miss her and Vincent very much. So thank you.
Public session.
Public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session is set aside for members of the public to comment on any item within the jurisdiction of the board but not appearing on the agenda. Items presented under public comment may not be discussed or acted upon by the board at this time. For items appearing on the agenda, the public is invited to comment at the time the item is called for consideration by the board. Any person addressing the board under public comment will be limited to a 3-minute presentation to ensure that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak. Any handouts to the board must be submitted to the chief clerk of the board for distribution to the supervisors. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium. Also, all persons addressing the board may state their name and county of residence for the record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Todd Miller, Auditor Controller.
Nice tie.
Thank you. Show yours. Pretty good. Merry Christmas.
I did it on purpose. I celebrate Christmas all month.
Let's not talk ties, sir. Supervisor, CAO, and residents of Madera County. After a year of hard work by the staff of the Auditor Controller's Office, I am pleased to deliver 125 certified audits of the special districts of Madera County. Special districts are the road districts, water districts, and lighting districts owned by the residents within those districts and managed by the county. Upon assuming the Office of Auditor Controller, I was surprised to learn that we had not, and I don't know if we ever had, done the state-mandated certified audits for all of these special districts. Without reliable financial information, the residents within these special districts, the employees who are tasked with carrying out work in those special districts, and the managers of those special districts, which is the Board of Supervisors, did not have the proper information to make informed and rational decisions. That era is over. I would like to acknowledge the assistance received from Public Works and the independent audit firm of Moss Adams LLP. Further, I want to acknowledge the staff of the Auditor Controller's Office who, in addition to their regular work, took on this task and got it done. Specifically, the one who started managing this project was Darla Weiser, who has since retired. And I'd like to ask them to stand. They have in their possession those reports, all 125. I'd like to ask them to stand as I read their name. The person who took over and managed this project was Elaine Coe. Sharon Briscoe, who could not be here today, our chief accountant. Roger Cardoza, who's on assignment, and our chief internal auditor, and also could not be here. Assistant Jim Boyajian, and accountants Melody Bright, Navdeep Singh, Sabrina Rodriguez, Sherry Davis, and Victoria Cantu. Let me tell you guys, these are the guys who not only did this project for me, but also are the ones responsible for getting the financial statements done for the county on time. So thank you. Finally, I need to acknowledge you, Board of Supervisors and CAO, who have seen the need and provided the Auditor Controller Office with the resources to get this job done. These financial statements will be posted to our website and will be available to all, including all the residents living in Madera County and in those special districts. Thank you.
Can we have them stand up one more time? We got to get a picture. I got to put this on Facebook. Thank you.
I just want to thank all of you and Todd for doing this. This is in December. I don't know if I'm a nerd because of this, but thank you for the best Christmas present right now. We go through the end of the year every year in June looking at our budgets, and we don't know how much money. It's kind of a guess. I just want to thank you for actually looking into this and providing us with the information that we're going to need. And Public Works has done a good job. I trust them with the numbers, but it's just nice to have this part of it so that we know where we're going, because without proper information, we're never going to get out of some of these problems and issues that we're having. And so the fact that we can now point to it and say, no, this is actually an audited statement, says a lot to the residents when we're going out there and talking with them at their meetings. And so I just want to thank you. This is Special Districts has been the bane of my existence, and this is a step to making it a lot better. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I am. Supervisor Rogers?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Brett said. You can't make decisions on finances if you don't know how much money you have. You can't spend more than you have. And if you don't know what you're taking in, it's kind of hard to spend. But thank you, Todd. Since you've been here, it's just a pleasure to look at the budgets, to do the job that we have to do, because you made it easy for us by knowing what we've got to deal with. And we've got a great team, I've got to say. From the auditor's office all the way up to the CAO and our budget directors and everybody, the people of Madera County need to know that this team has achieved amazing things. When I came in 2011, we were $12 million in debt. We no longer have that debt. We achieved a A+ rating a couple of years ago for Standard & Poor's, which we'd never had a rating. We were so bad off. And now we have a AA rating, so we've been bumped up, and we're getting better and better. Our financial house is in order, folks, and that's awesome. Thank you, Todd.
Next year will be better yet.
Yeah. Todd, as the chairman here, I also want to add my opinion on that. Thank you for clarifying the financial condition of Madera County. It makes our job a lot easier. Thank you very much.
Beautiful.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Ahmad Al-Qiyad, Public Works Director. I just want to be here on the record to thank Todd Miller and his team. I mean, we had of course, they're always there when we needed them, but especially these last 2 to 3 weeks, I would say, they literally had to drop everything and help Public Works on 2 issues, which funding were in jeopardy. Funding was in jeopardy. So I thank you for that and thank all of you for everything. Job well done.
They did.
Yeah? All right. Thank you.
Good deal.
Sarah, good morning.
Good morning. Sarah Boss, Public Health Director, and
Jay Varney, Madera County Sheriff.
we're here to share with you a new service. We've been collaborating to provide a new service in Madera County. And as you all know, the opioid crisis is really becoming an issue in the United States. Drug overdoses are the leading cause of unintentional injury death in the United States, causing more deaths than car accidents. And opioids are responsible for these deaths. As you may know, it includes heroin, fentanyl, prescription painkillers such as morphine, methadone, hydrocodone, and oxycodone. And in Madera County, we have been affected by this epidemic. The highest number of opioid deaths is in Coarse Gold, with 13 deaths per 100,000 people, followed by Chowchilla with 8 deaths per 100,000, and the city of Madera with 6 deaths per 100,000. This is a serious issue. So there's a really good option for us to be able to use. You might have heard of Narcan. Naloxone is the actual name of that drug. Narcan is the brand name. It works almost immediately to reduce an opiate overdose. And it has nearly no known adverse side effects, no potential for abuse, and can be rapidly administered. So it's a great option. Most healthcare providers, first responders, are equipped with naloxone, but unfortunately, due to the size of our county, many emergency providers are not able to arrive on time in order to administer it. However, trained and equipped non-healthcare providers can effectively respond and reverse an opiate overdose using naloxone. So Madera County Public Health and the Sheriff's Office are working together through a grant from the California Department of Public Health. And under this grant, we are provided with 330 doses of naloxone, saving the county $12,400. And we've received so far 186 doses. We get them in 2 shipments, and they were received this month. Giving naloxone to the sheriff's deputies increases the chances of reversing an opiate overdose and potentially saving the lives of county residents, as well as law enforcement who have also been exposed to fentanyl in particular. So sheriff staff have been trained to administer naloxone and have participated also in a Train the Trainer program to be able to provide training to other law enforcement agencies in Madera County. Yesterday, Public Health transferred 146 doses to the Sheriff's Department. 40 doses have been reserved as we are planning to train the Chowchilla Police Department as well. And the grant will end in June of 2018 when we receive our second shipment of 144 doses, and it is unlikely to repeat. So we will be working together to be able to identify ways to sustain this service to Madera County.
Excellent.
So the only thing I'd add is we're seeing fentanyl used more and more in conjunction with other drugs, even including marijuana. It's a very small amount can create an overdose for you. So most of your opioid-based overdoses that the public's having are probably more prescription-based or heroin-based. But as fentanyl becomes more popular, which I don't know why you would take something that can kill you if you get the dosage off by that much. But we're really concerned about the health of our county employees and our public safety employees, especially if we go out to these places. We want to be equipped. One of the people that we're honoring today here from my shop is a canine handler. We can even give it to the dog if needed. So we really appreciate public health helping push this through, and it will continue to be a big safety issue for as long as this epidemic goes on. So Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much. Britt?
Good morning. Brittany Dyer, District Chief of Staff to Supervisor Tom Wheeler, District 5. I just wanted to let you guys know that Madera County participated yesterday in a meeting in Sacramento with the Governor's Tree Mortality Task Force, where they released the new number of dead trees. This was a release from the Forest Service, the Governor's Tree Mortality Task Force, and CAL FIRE. The new number is 129 million. So that's an increase of 27 million trees, dead trees, in the last 8 months. They also released a number. We've been able to calculate our combined efforts among all the land managers, counties, community groups, and we have been able to take down a total of 1 million trees, which has been a huge effort, but as you can tell with the scale and the scope, it's really just the tip of the iceberg. So those numbers were released in conjunction with the task force yesterday. Any questions?
Was that count before some of the wildfires that came through? Were any of those removed from?
The count went through October of this year. In fact, the original flyover that took place, there was still snow on the ground, so we were able to get some extra dollars, and CAL FIRE supported a later fly that ended in October.
Do they have any estimate of how many trees were taken out during those wildfires? Nothing
No.
like that? No. Thank you, Brittany.
Do we have any
Supervisor Wheeler?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. I just, we, on this same subject, I've had a lot of people in the last 3 years come up to me and say their home insurance got it canceled or it doubled and tripled and what have you. Well, last weekend I got my mail and I got my notice from the Hartford insurance. So if you guys have Hartford, dump them. They dumped me, my home insurance, so I have no insurance now. And it says no longer qualified for coverage under this program due to the wildfire exposure. Like, we have a choice on this. And so my insurance is dumped. My agent's trying to find me some, but I got to have it by it runs out on in January. Otherwise, I don't know what they do with my loan on my house even. So, because I got to have insurance. But that's what's happening to us up there because of this, the fires and all of our dead trees. So I felt so sorry for some of the people who's done it, and I got the same notice. So. Yeah.
And as you know, many people are going through that. We do have an insurance working group that's trying to tackle that issue. We're being able to discuss that with the governor's office and some of the insurance groups. I will say if there is a pro in some of the fire activities that have happened, Napa happening in October, and then now with the southern fires, we have a lot more support from decision makers than we've had in the past. It's not just the Sierras saying, hey, we need this, we need this. So we are trying to build off that momentum and get recognized.
And her husband, Gilbert's a Forest Service firefighter, and when he had to go down there when it first started, and he probably won't even be home before Christmas. Right. So thank him, and thank you.
Yeah, it's such a huge issue. I was up in near the fish camp area, the Sugar Pine Mountain Railroad area, and observed a portion of that burn up there. And I noticed all along the way a lot of logging has been done to remove dead trees. But you know what? It's like the state needs to learn that old adage, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We should have been managing these forests better a long time ago and putting our dollars into gleaning the forest. We could do that by reasonable logging and grazing and all the things we used to do. So we need to bring those practices back, and I'm not speaking to you. You get it. You're one of the people who get it. But just for the public, to keep educating the public. We're also losing water as a result of the overgrowth in the forest. So this all needs to be taken care of before we spend billions of dollars in catastrophic fires and lose the ability to insure our homes in the hills. That's catastrophe in and of itself.
And Chairman, if you don't mind, I'd just also like to thank the public, our roads department, and OES and CAL FIRE. On Monday night, we had a large wind event that came around the lake where over 60 trees fell. That's also a concern in and around tree mortality. And everybody came out in the middle of the night and took care of it and cleaned it up and worked collaboratively. So I think that really speaks a lot for the collaborative work that we're doing on this effort. So.
Give our road crew a heck of a hand. They were out all night.
Road crew and OES.
And 5 homes got hit and 1 trailer house got hit. Wow. 1 home was completely destroyed by one of the fallen trees. But the road crew worked all night getting dead trees out of our roads.
Mm-hmm. Anybody hurt?
No, nobody got hurt, but I talked to a couple of them, they were so scared because when it's dark time, you're trying to clean out a tree off a road, and all you can hear is other trees falling around you. You have no idea if they're going to fall and hit you.
It was a late night.
So give our road crew a big hand.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Eric Fleming, County Administrator. This morning it's my pleasure to introduce Tristan Champ. He is Madera County's first Grant Services Manager. He'll be working in conjunction with all of the departmental people that go after grants. He'll be filling in gaps where we don't have grant writers, and we'll be coming before your board in the very near future with some grant opportunities.
Great.
He comes to us with a great deal of experience from a private firm, mainly writing grants for cities, counties, and schools. So,
excellent.
Tristan Champ, welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I look forward to working with the Board of Supervisors and as well as the department heads for the county in going after grant funding. We're already off to a good start, and I've got several applications in the works, and I think you guys will be seeing me probably beginning of January.
Good.
We have several programs going forward at the end of that month. So
excellent.
We like people who bring money in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's going to pay for your job, so you better be busy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you.
Tracy.
Well, I figured I better not waste the opportunity. Tracy Kennedy, Madera County Treasurer, Tax Collector, and if you love what he'll bring in, you're going to love what I have to say. Yesterday was the deadline for your property taxes, so if you didn't get them in, you're too late. Add 10%. We collected 86 million up through yesterday. We're still posting. Probably another 4 million will be posted today. So in total, about 90 million will be collected, first and second. So 84% of the people have paid their first installments, and almost 20% of the people have already paid their second installment. So they're hoping for their tax deduction, I guess. In credit cards, we received 4.7 million. That is the highest ever. Almost 2,000 transactions that paid in credit card. The beauty of credit card is that once you pay by the credit card, it posts automatically. There is a fee. There's a convenience fee. The county doesn't get any of that. That 2.35 goes direct to the third-party vendor. It doesn't come to the county. But it is there for convenience. Now, e-checks are free. We do absorb the 50 cents for the e-checks, and we collected 2 million in e-checks free and 800 transactions. So we're still posting away, and we have trays and trays and trays of mail. But I'll give you the breakdown next week. Credit cards walk in. Probably since we've been here in this building 10 years, we had the most walk-in traffic that I've seen in 10 years here. Yeah.
What,
so,
credit card, how much was it? 5 million, you said?
Almost 4.7 million in credit cards. So, most of it was e-checks. Free. E-checks are free. I know it takes a little time to do it, but it's still worth it. It's free. And it posts immediately. That way we don't have to. Anyway.
How much does it cost for the e-check?
50 cents.
But to someone paying with it, how much is it?
We absorb it.
It's free?
It's free.
Okay, perfect.
Did you get that?
Free checks.
Yeah,
Was it
do it next
free
time,
e-checks? Takes a little time, but it's worth it. Anyway, so about 90 million for this once we're settled. Okay?
Tracy, I just want to let you know that I meet up with all the people going up to your office to pay their taxes, and they're all upset.
Oh, come on. You know what they say. There's only 2 things you can count on, and I say, aren't you glad I'm the other one?
Yeah. Thank you, Tracy.
You know, on the converse side of that, your people are great about receiving the money, and they're very good with the public. I mean, I go up there and I feel good about paying my taxes.
You know, this time we want to thank the committee that decorated our Christmas tree, and the people that did it was Veronica Ramirez, Tanya Echeverra, Tanya Camp, Sherry Peters, Ignacio Magos, Jennifer Garcia, Linda and Erica Figueroa.
Hey.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, before we close public comment, I'd like to announce again that item 7D, as in dog, it's Special District, Maintenance District, Ripperton, was pulled from the agenda today per staff's request.
Okay. Yeah.
There was no public outreach that was done on it, so we're pointing right now to not go forward with it. Yeah, I know, and that's why it's being pulled, so that it, to not move forward with it until until staff and my office meets with you individually and talks to you about it, so that you know exactly what's going on. Your voices were heard loud and clear. Yeah, if you can.
Excuse me, Supervisor, Mr. Chairman. First of all, thank you for the Committee of Representatives for showing up, and I apologize for the confusion. We do have new information about a grant that we need to secure for this water system, and I would like to start community outreach and meeting with all of you, if available, very shortly to discuss the next step forwards regarding the water and sewer system. So we're here to say that there's more we need to do, and there's more information that we just got from the state. In the meantime, you are the same. No change in your rate. Yeah, the only way we can do a change is via Prop 283.
Right, and we're taking that off the table right now, so your rates will not increase.
So until further notice, until we meet and figure this out.
And Melissa De Silva at the front right here, if you can give some of your contact information, I'd like to set up a meeting with myself and your community within the next week or so.
Thank you. That is key, Supervisor. We really need all your contact information if we can. And we coordinate with Melissa, and also Mohammed is our Special Districts Manager. We'll make sure that we'll do this properly. Thank you.
Your voices were heard loudly.
Thank you, Robert. Good job, bud. You handled that very well.
After these presentations, I was going to have next, because I saw that on the transcript.
Item number 5, County Administration Department, Human Resources, Operations Division. Presentation of service credit awards to employees who have retained 20 or more years of county service.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Adrienne Caleb reporting this morning on behalf of Human Resources. Each December, the Board of Supervisors gives special recognition to employees who have reached milestones of 20 or more years of public service. In addition to today's public recognition by the board, department heads will be provided with certificates to provide to their employees who have attained 5, 10, and 15 years of service. This year, department heads will be recognizing 154 additional employees, 46 with 5 years of service, 85 with 10 years of service, and 23 with 15 years of service. This morning, you'll be recognizing 19 employees who celebrate 20, 25, or 30 years of employment with Madera County. Our office is very proud to have played a role in this presentation, and I want to share with the employees as well as with any of their family members who may be here. After the last presentation, they're welcome to go to the back. We will have cake and cupcakes and things and refreshments for you all to enjoy. I want to also share that the board meeting will continue to move forward during that time, so please feel free to join us in the back. At this point in time, I'm going to ask Kim Brooks, who actually is the newly appointed analyst in my office, to make all of the presentations and call the names and invite people up. So Kim, can you please come up?
Good morning. Kim Brooks from the Department of Human Resources. First off, we would like to recognize employees for 30 years of service. I'm going to start off with an employee that is unable to attend today, and we would like to recognize from the Department of Corrections, Mark Clark, Correctional Officer 2. Next, we would like to recognize for 30 years of service from the Department of Behavioral Health Services, Melissa Nelson. She's unable to attend, but Dennis Cook, Director of Behavioral Health, would like to say a few words and receive her award.
Good morning, Dennis Cook, Department of Behavioral Health. Yeah, Melissa can't be here this morning. We were hoping even this morning that she was feeling better and was able to be here, but she can't. And Melissa, to meet her, she is such a pleasant and delightful person. I've only actually known her for a few months when I was at Public Health for a little bit. I met her over there, and that was in between as she was transferring to behavioral health. So it was kind of odd. I was sad for her to leave there, and what a gap to fill. And not when I was over there, but when I was back at behavioral health, I was very happy to see such a good employee come here, and I didn't realize how long she worked here. But a little bit about Melissa. She gave me some information, and I wanted to read it. Melissa is a lifelong resident of Madera County. In fact, she was even born at the health department building, where then it was the Madera County General Hospital. She started her career here in Madera County at age 19 on December 21st, 1987. So in a week it would be exactly 30 years. And if you were to see her, you would have thought she started at age 5. In her 30-year career, Melissa has held various positions in different departments in the county. She started at the Department of Social Services in 1987 and continued to advance her career over the years. She's had many years of service, and desire for professional growth allowed her to gain experience in the departments of correction, probation department, sheriff's office, district attorney, health department, and now behavioral health, where she's an administrative analyst too. I just want to thank you on behalf of Melissa, and really glad that she is now in our department. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Next, we would like to recognize for 30 years of service from the Tax Collector's Office, Tracy Kennedy Desmond, Tax Collector Treasurer. Her award will be presented by Rebecca Martinez, the County Clerk Recorder.
She's coming. She's coming.
Is Tracy here today?
39 and a half years.
Good morning. Rebecca Martinez, Clerk Recorder, Registrar of Voters. Tracy asked me to present to her 30-year plaque, and I asked her for her bio. I promise that I've cut it down. She asked me to make the presentation today, and I frankly think that the only reason she did that is because I'm the only one that's been here long enough to remember 30 years ago. So a little bit about Tracy. Prior to working for the county, which was in the tax collector's office, she worked for the city of Madera in the finance department for approximately 8 years. She has a degree in accounting as well as a certificate in public treasury management from the University of Southern California School of Public Administration. And because I placed my hand and seal to her certificate of election, I can attest to the fact that she was elected for the first time in 1990 and assumed office in 1991 as the Treasurer Tax Collector. Not long after Tracy was elected, we became fast friends and confidants to the point where, to this day, we are always mistaken for one another. I get stalked when people have paid their taxes and they ask me if I'm happy about that. And she gets questions like, where's my ballot? And I guess it must be our long blonde hair that makes us look alike. I'm not sure. Tracy's one of the 2 longest serving female countywide elected officials, and in her 7th term. Most people don't grow up wanting to be elected or to be an elected official. There's not many thanks or gratitude that come with that job. Amen. And Tracy has had her share of adversity. but she persevered and continues to be a loyal, dedicated public servant. It is truly a personal pleasure and a professional privilege to present to you your 30-year plaque. Well, they have the right name on there. Well, geez.
There's another side to it. Are you going to go to Disneyland now? Don't read it.
Are you all paying?
See, I told you.
Dark hair?
Yeah. Well, how long has your hair been dark?
Since Wednesday.
Okay. 30 years, I think the math is wrong, but I can't believe it's 30 years, being, on Facebook, I just turned 17. So,
you graduated from kindergarten, too.
I know, huh? And really, my anniversary date is April Fool's Day, oddly enough. And so I've been here 30 and a half or so years. Anyway, thank you to Becky. Thank you very much. That's very sweet. And to this board and all the boards that have been before you that put up with, we're here and sitting at the dais and for my 7 terms. Like I said, 30 years is a long time, not as long as Becky, so I have something to aspire to. One thing I know for sure is we have plenty of work in our office. We have a lot of work that has lasted the last 30 years, and that will last for the next 30 years and on into perpetuity. One thing about it won't go away. We will still be collecting taxes, hopefully not me in 30 more years, but somebody will be, even if it's on your telephone or by credit card. I have met some really great people along this journey, and I have made some amazing friends and kept some other friends that I always had. So for that, I'm very grateful to the county for this long career. In the audience, I need to thank, I thought I had some staff here, but, of course, I'm not anything without good staff. Again, the ones that were there when I started in 1987 and the ones that are there today. So we have only one more full-time equivalent person than I had when I started in 1980. So we've really held the numbers. Don't cry, Rhonda. It'll be fine. It'll be fine, really. It will. In the audience, I want to introduce my husband, bravest man in the world, John Smith, is here.
Did you say bravest?
Bravest.
Bravest?
Bravest.
Right on, John.
And my dad, Patrick Kennedy, who's been there for me through thick and thin. I have to say, when I was first going to run for office, I asked him, it was kind of a family meeting, and I said, so do you think I should or do you think I shouldn't? And he said, yeah, you should. Then we'll find out if we have any skeletons in our closet. Anyway, thank you, board, and thank you, everyone that is here, and thank you, Becky. So, thank you.
Tracy, when I got to vote in my very first election, it was my honor to vote for your 3rd term.
Next, we would like to recognize employees that have 25 years of service. Okay, next we would like to recognize those employees with 25 years of service. I'm going to start off by the employees that unfortunately are not able to attend today. And first off is from the Department of Corrections, Fred Maciel. He's a correctional sergeant. And next from the Health Department, Alicia Melendez. She's a public health education assistant. And moving on, we would like to recognize 25 years of service from the Information Technology Department, Tanya Say, Chief Information Officer. And her award will be presented by Eric Fleming, the CAO.
Thank you. Tanya? Tanya started with the county in September of 1992. After working her way up the ranks, she became the Child Support Services Director in November of 2002. She was one of the first department heads that I worked with when I came to the county in 2005. She was a pleasure to work with, and we quickly developed an excellent working relationship. During her time as the Child Support Services Director, the county went from a ranking of 44th in the state to a ranking of 9th in the state. In 2014, her department received an award for increasing collections by the highest percentage for all small counties in the state of California. She also led her department through 3 office-wide conversions to new systems mandated by the federal government. When the county needed a new department head in our IT department, your board had an interest in looking at internal candidates. Tanya was a logical choice since she had managed child support services very well over the years and was respected by the county's management team. She was hired as our Chief Information Officer over IT in February of 2016 and, in my opinion, has made a very successful transition. This year, her IT team is working on over 40 projects, including the county's new website, which should go live in early 2018, new audio-video equipment for the board chambers in early 2018, and the new One Solution financial system implementation in 2018 as well. And I believe that the best is still to come. So, Tanya, thank you for dedicating your career to Madera County.
And I just want to thank your board for all your support of the department and of me throughout the years. It's been my pleasure to serve Madera County, the constituents of Madera County, and serve your board and the boards before you. I'd also like to thank Bruce Lorimer, my Deputy CIO, because without him we would not be making it very far at all. And I'd also, back at Child Support, like to thank Sarah Honeycutt. She's now the Director of Child Support Services, as well as the last Director of Child Support Services, Vicki West, because without them I would not be here today. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Also, for 25 years of service, we would like to recognize from the Probation Department, Naomi Salvador Wyatt, Deputy Probation Officer Supervisor. Her award will be presented by Chris Childers, Deputy Chief Probation Officer.
Good morning. Chris Childers, Probation Department. I'm here today to present Naomi Wyatt her 25 years of service anniversary award. And I want to say that Naomi came to us originally before she went to probation. I wasn't even there when she came there, but I heard that she came from victim services. Before that, she was a social worker. So she's got a lot of years in the business. Fortunately, the 25 years, and over the last 25 years, she's spent it with us at probation. So in looking at back on an anniversary, it's a good occasion to really look back and reflect on all the accomplishments that one person has done. And Naomi, I can tell you that you can really look back in a lot of satisfaction and say that you've accomplished a lot. Let me give you a good example. The Board of Supervisors likes to save money. 20 years ago, Naomi Wyatt applied for a grant. It was called the Young Men as Fathers. That grant was ultimately awarded, and the probation department received quite a bit of money. And over the course of the last 20 years, we've been writing the tale of that application that Naomi Wyatt wrote the grant that over the course of the last 20 years has probably provided about $2 million, maybe a little bit more over the last 20 years. We're still using that money today. Every year we reapply for it. But she paved the way, so I really want to say that was probably one of the shining moments in Naomi's career. We really appreciate it. I want to say you've always been one of the best colleagues of mine, and I know for the others that work with you, they would say the same thing. I just want to wish you happy 25 years, and just to let you know a little secret, Naomi's going to be retiring soon, so this is kind of the end of her career, and she won't be up here again until 30, unfortunately, but we really want to thank her for being a part of the team at probation, and it wouldn't have been possible to all of our successes to achieve what we have without her being there. So I want to say thank you very much.
First of
of all, I want to thank you all. I feel so thankful and grateful to have spent the last almost 26 years of probation. How often does a person get a chance to not only work for a department like probation, but to actually be able to accomplish the things that were set for them? I felt like I've been able to do my calling. I've always loved working with kids, and I feel like I was given an opportunity to give something to my community. This is my hometown. I love Madera, and I love serving the people of Madera, and I felt like I got an opportunity to serve the youth of this community. And how often do you get to work with some really wonderful people? Some of my old supervisors are here, and I want to thank them. I want them to stand up. Jose Pantoja. You guys got to keep an eye on him. He's a wonderful person. And Stephanie Stokel. One of my first supervisors, and anytime I was doing grant work, she was always encouraging me, and I really appreciate that. And Paul. He was always there for me when he was my supervisor, always encouraging me. He giving me credit for what he believed I have done. And then lastly but not least, Chris Childers. He's been my supervisor for almost 3 years, and I really appreciate that. He lets me work outside the box, and I will never forget the last almost 26 years. Thank you.
Also for 25 years, from the Sheriff's Department, we would like to recognize Susan Knoll, Sheriff's Business Manager, and her award will be presented by Sheriff Jay Varney.
She's going to take the long way to get down here. We're going to give you most of the speaking time anyway. So Susan's a native Madeiran. She's worked for the county, obviously, for 25 years. She's worked for 3 different departments. She worked for an extended period for county council, and then did like a quick stint over at public health for a few years, and has been with the sheriff's office for about 9 years now. As mentioned by her job title, she's a sheriff's business office manager, which encompasses a whole lot of stuff. You can't even believe some of these grants they have to deal with. And we've also moved, payroll historically has always been done by my admin assistant, and we moved Regina, who's here as one of the employees, to honor Susan today, into the business office, because it just made a whole lot more sense that if the person that was figuring out how much money we had worked for the person who was doing the payroll. So Susan's a great mentor, probably why Juliet and Regina are both here today to honor her. And Susan also has her mom and dad here, and I will turn the mic over to you.
Thank you, Sheriff. I'd just like to thank you for the opportunity and privilege to work for Madera County for the last 25 years. It's been a great ride. I love coming to work. I enjoy my job. I enjoy working for this great man. It makes it easy when your department cares about the county that you work for. Thank you to the board for having me. I just hope you keep me around for a few more years. And I also would like to thank my parents, Mario and Jeanette, for giving me the work ethic that they taught me as a young, and are still teaching me, actually, every day. But thank you, Mom and Dad. I love you, and thank you for supporting me every step of the way. And thank you, Sheriff.
And lastly, for 25 years of service, we would like to recognize from the Department of Social Services, Brandy Curran, Social Worker 3. Her award will be presented by Deborah Martinez, the Director of Social Services.
Good morning, supervisors.
Morning.
Can you hear me? I'm here with Brandy Curran. Brandy began with the Department of Social Services, splitting all over the place, in March of 1992 as an eligibility worker. In 1998, she was promoted to social worker. Throughout her career, she's been assigned to welfare to work, child welfare, and is currently serving as a social worker too in adult protective services. She has performed numerous special assignments, such as foster parent liaison, court officer for the child welfare department, and she has also served as the DSS Activity Committee board member. And she was named Employee of the Year in 2008. She has been, in her 25 years with the department, an asset to the department, to the clients, and to the public that we serve. And we appreciate very much, Brandy. Thank you.
I just want to say that I love working with the community that we all serve, and every day is an adventure.
Yep, and that's the truth.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brandy.
And next, we will be recognizing the employees that have worked 20 years. They have 20 years of service. And first, I'd like to start off by announcing the individuals that unfortunately could not attend today. And first off, from General Services Building Maintenance, Dennis Kidwell, Building Crafts and Maintenance Worker 2. From the District Attorney's Office, David Ingstrom, Supervising DA Criminal Investigator. From Probation, Richard Galindo, Deputy Probation Officer Supervisor. From the Public Works Department, Edward Alvarez, Road Construction and Maintenance Worker 2. And also from Public Works, Cecil Hillerman, Road Construction and Maintenance Worker Supervisor. From the Sheriff's Office, Robert Mollett, Sheriff Sergeant. And lastly, Valerie Rutherford, Social Worker 3. So next, for 20 years of service, we would like to present Elizabeth Kosinski. She's a Senior Program Assistant, and her award will be presented by Dennis Cook. Oh, Debbie Donato.
Good morning, board members. I'm Debbie Donato, Division Manager with Madera County Behavioral Health Services. Don't stand so far away. Come up here. Okay, I'm going to read what Beth wrote about her employment since she's been here with Madera County. 20 years, pretty amazing. She was hired on 12/1/1997 as a program assistant for the Madera County Mental Health Department, which later changed its name to the Madera County Behavioral Health Department. She started in the Children's System of Care program located in one half of the Health Department building. During her years there, she learned and grew so much. Some areas she worked in was with the Access Case Management Team and saw how mental health services were provided at court day school, boot camp, group homes, foster care, school districts, and more. Several years later, she moved to the Lake Street Center and joined the foster care program, working closely with the Department of Social Services. This was a whole new world of learning for her. Her next opportunity and challenge was moving over to the main clinic on then Road 28 at the Madera Counseling Center. This was where she was trained in medical records and began working closely with our psychiatrists. The world of privacy in mental health and alcohol and drug programs was amazing to her, and she learned that she loved medical records right away. In 2012, our department moved to our current location at 7th Street, and she has continued to grow in all aspects of our department. She's proud to have been part of the Behavioral Health Department for 20 years, and she was recently promoted to Senior Program Assistant in Medical Records. And I just want to say personally, I get the joy of supervising her, I've had the joy of supervising her. She's an amazing employee. You ask her to do something, it's done immediately. Her work is extremely professional, and I'm just really proud that she's one of my employees. So thank you for your time and for your service, and congratulations. This is well deserved. And I'm very lucky to have you.
I don't even know what to say to start, except that I have been very happy working for Madera County, specifically the Behavioral Health Department. When I started, I knew nothing, and I'm very grateful to have worked with the people that have given me the opportunity to learn as much as I've learned. So thank you all so much, and I really appreciate this.
Next, for 20 years of service from General Services Building Maintenance is Bryant Torres, Senior Building Crafts and Maintenance Worker, and his award will be presented by Raymond Huerta, Building Crafts and Maintenance Worker Supervisor.
Good morning. Good morning, Board. I'm not very good at this, so I'll just let you know that right now. My name is Raymond Huerta, Building Maintenance Supervisor with Madera County. Right here we have Brian Torres. He was hired 20 years ago, and I'll give you a little background about him. He's a lifelong resident, served in the military, in the Marines, has a wife, 2 daughters, avid outdoorsman, likes to camp, fish.
Good man.
4 wheels, anything, and he really likes the outdoors. He was hired in 97 of October out at the jail as a building maintenance worker 1, has worked his way up to the senior lead worker position out there, and it takes a special person to work out at the jail. It really does, because Brian's been out there for 20 years, and he keeps running and maintaining that facility. It just keeps rolling. I don't have to worry about that facility because I have him out there, and he takes care of all the emergencies. You'd be surprised how many times you get called out in the middle of the night. Sewer backed up, locks not working, security cameras are down. They're just a great staff out there, to have them out there. And so I'm privileged to have him work for me. He's not just a worker, he's part of our family. The people that I have working in our department, they're a great bunch of guys, and he's one of them. Brian Torres.
Right. And he said he wasn't any good at that.
Yeah, no
I thought that was a great introduction.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your service to our country, too.
Outstanding. Thank you, sir. 20 years. I hope to serve you all another 10.
Hey, good.
Also for 20 years of service, we would like to recognize from Juvenile Hall, Martin Garcia Jr., Juvenile Detention Officer 2. His award will be presented by Paul Diorian, Deputy Chief Probation Officer.
Good morning, everybody. It's been a while. How you all doing? Myself, like Raymond, I'm not real good at this stuff. I didn't prepare a speech, but I hope I outdo you, Raymond. I do. But Martin Garcia, started in 97, I think September. Solid employee, reliable, well liked by everybody, and that's hard to say because our clients are not the best, not the best kids in our community, and but Martin has a special touch with them. And good thing about Martin is he's our longest term line staff employee. He's David 1, so that's our number 1 longest term line staff employee. So he has a lot of history and knows where all the skeletons are buried out there in the backyard. So I go to him quite a bit when I want to know what, where, and when, and why that happened, or how it came about. I do want to tell a quick story before I turn it over to Martin, just to kind of paint a picture of how he works. So juvenile hall story, regular morning, Friday morning, about a month ago. The emergency call comes over the radio. You know, we all go running down to the housing unit. I'm up in admin, so I'm usually the last one in the housing unit. But that one was a little different because you could tell by the call from the officer it was a little more stressful. So I get in there, and they got a kid out there, and they're taking this sheet or sweatshirt or something wrapped around the kid's neck. He did a suicide attempt. So first guy I see on scene is Martin helping the kid, and it's always good when you got an officer like that experienced telling the kid, hey, it's going to be okay. We're here to take care of you. Let us help you. So I felt really good that morning when I got in there and I saw Martin helping that kid. That really describes what we do out there and type of person Officer Martin Garcia is. So congratulations. Thank you for taking care of those kids out there and making us safe and keep us out of those liability situations. Martin Garcia.
I'm not very good at speeches, but I just want to say thank you to the Board of Supervisors. 20 years go by pretty quick.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to my wife. She works for the same department, for all the support, you know, working weekends, holidays. In this business, you know, it's like DC said, it's a service that goes, you know, you don't get too much of a pat in the back for all the weekends and the nights and the holidays that you go into work. So it's very difficult. It's very difficult, 20 years, but thank you to my wife for the support. And I would like to thank my father as well, Martin Garcia. I would like to dedicate this to him. I would like to dedicate this to him because he showed me what it is for hard work and just loving where you work and the support of, you know, of everything he's been through. So, thanks, Dad. Thanks, guys.
Great man.
Nobody wants to take a picture? Okay.
No, we want to know something. We want to now turn to the right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, for 20 years of service, we'd like to recognize 2 employees from the health department. First off, I'll call Laura Barra, Senior Nutrition Assistant. Her award will be presented by Sarah Boss, the Public Health Director.
Hello again. Sarah Boss, Public Health Director. Last week we celebrated these employment milestones with our staff in the health department, and it had a feeling in the room much like this morning. My daughter says it's toasty, warm thoughts. But what a lovely morning to celebrate as we see people achieve these milestones. It's my honor to represent the health department and talk about Laura and her service to public health over the last 20 years. She started with Madera County in 1997 as a nutrition assistant for the health department with the Women, Infants, and Children program. She was promoted to Nutrition Assistant 2 in 2005, and due to her high level of bilingual WIC nutrition counseling skills, her unique understanding of state WIC policy, which is very complicated, and her excellent work ethic, Laura was promoted to Senior Nutrition Assistant in 2007. On behalf of the Health Department, we're very proud of your dedication to the health of families and children, and it's my honor to present you with this well-deserved recognition.
Well, I didn't have a speech prepared, but I want to thank everybody for taking the time to honor us today. And it's been 20 years, and they had passed in a blink of an eye. I still can't believe it. It just seemed like it was yesterday when I started. So thank you for the time, and I also want to thank my son and my daughter for taking the time to be with me here today. Thank you.
Absolutely.
For 20 years of service, also from the Health Department, Diana Trevino Turner, Public Health Education Assistant, and her award will also be presented by Sarah Boss, the Public Health Director.
Morning. Diana started also in 1997, 20 years of service as an office assistant with the Public Health Department, and after 3 years she was promoted to a Public Health Education Assistant. For the past 17 years, she's been working as a case manager with our maternal, child, and adolescent health program. Diana is culturally sensitive, she's thoughtful, and appropriately applies her knowledge and skills to support families in the First Parents program. And on behalf of Public Health, it's my honor to present you with this recognition. We appreciate your service to children and families in Madera County. Thank you.
I also would like to say thank you. 20 years does go by quickly. Working with the community can be challenging sometimes, but there really is a need for home visitation, and I really enjoy working with all my families. Thank you.
Also, for 20 years of service from the Library Department, I would like to call Jonathan King, Library Assistant. His award will be presented by Patrick Fitzgerald, the County Librarian.
Good morning. Jonathan King has been a permanent employee with this department since 1997. But he actually started here as an extra help worker in the late 1980s? 85. Wow. So he's actually, all total service has been a good long while. Over 32, or around 32 years. He's outlasted many county librarians. I'm sure he's going to outlast me too. John is a fellow who's just absolutely reliable in every way. We always know that, he's as good as his word. What he does, what he says he's going to do, he's going to do. If he says he's going to be there, he's going to be there. There's not much that I can tell him about the library because he knows our building, our facility, and our department inside and out already. It is, in any department, some departments are more challenging than others, but it's still never easy to have a position where you're public facing and working intensely with the public day in, day out. He always goes about that with an absolute sense of calm and is always able to kind of bring the blood pressure of any situation back down to a normal rate, and that's certainly a characteristic I appreciate. Thank you, John.
Now, working at the library all these years has been a huge part of my personal growth and happiness. I'd just like to thank the Board of Supervisors for recognizing me.
You bet.
Also, for 20 years of service, we would like to recognize from the Probation Department, Gloria Garcia, Deputy Probation Officer Supervisor, and her award will be presented by Jose Pantoya, Deputy Chief Probation Officer.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jose Pantoja. I'm the Deputy Chief of the Madera County Probation Department, and I would first briefly like to thank the board for allowing us this opportunity and knowing the importance of recognizing our staff, so thank you guys. Supervisor Gloria Garcia, she's been with our department since 1997, where she started off as a juvenile detention officer at the boot camp. Her dedication, her motivation, her eagerness, she quickly climbed up the ranks there. She got promoted to juvenile detention supervisor. And she shifted gears a little bit, and she switched over to the probation side, where she became a deputy probation officer. And that was in 2001. Again, with her motivation, her eagerness, her dedication, wanting to learn and promote, she became a senior in 2006, and her current role as a supervisor in 2010. Gloria is loyal, she's dedicated, she's passionate about her job, she's a great employee. She's taken on many tasks, specifically recently the Proposition of 63 that's going to take effect this January. She's really taken on that role in defining and outlining probation's role in that proposition. Gloria, thank you for your 20 years of service. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Hi. I just want to make it clear that I started when I was 10. These 20 years have flown by. I want to thank God for allowing me to be here. I want to thank my parents for instilling in me the work ethic that they did to allow me to be here. I want to thank the chief for all his support and encouragement and guidance. So thank you. All the DCs for all their guidance as well. I want to thank my husband for being here, my father-in-law, Martin Garcia. That is my husband. We actually share the exact same anniversary date. So we both, 20 years together here. And then I want to thank my staff that came here to support me today, Sophia Barca, Lisa Turner, and Rudy Yanis. So thank you. Without them, I couldn't do the job that I do now. I'm very grateful to have worked for the county for 20 years. It's a great county. It's a great department. And I thank you so much.
Thank you. It is.
For 20 years from the Public Works Department, I would like to recognize, I skipped someone on accident, I would like to recognize Randy Rosenfield, equipment operator. Unfortunately, he was unable to attend today's ceremony. So next, for 20 years of service, is Keith Daniels, Special Districts Electrician. His award will be presented by Ahmad Al-Kayat.
Good morning again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Keith Daniels started with Madera County on August 11, 1997. All I can say is that Public Works Department has been blessed with having Keith Daniels as part of our team. Your board knows the state of our special districts and water systems. Some of these plants are more than 50 years old. Keith can open the control panel at these plants and resolve issues whether it was built to the 1960s code or today's code. While many of these panels intimidate the average person with thousands of wires rolling all over the place, this is what Keith says. If you can read a road map, you can solve this. So for those of us who remember the folding road maps. Although Keith has tossed around the R word, we are proud of him and congratulate him for 20 years of service. However, we won't give up on trying to get him to stay for another 20. Keith, I'm humbled to be handing this to you. Congratulations and good luck.
Well, I had a boss tell me one time that everybody's got to find a home. And I think I found it here at Madera County.
Absolutely.
And I certainly appreciate this award, but it's easy to see why I was able to have the success that I've had here when I have a great boss like Ahmad and Muhammad, Marty Duval, and Chad, all of the operators that work in the district. There's no I in team, and without their support, I couldn't have done my job effectively. And so also I'd like to say thank you to the girls in the office because Patty and Sarah, Maria, all of those girls do a great job, and they work overtime keeping me out of trouble and with spending. So. But I've had a great time here, and I really appreciate the award. Thank you very much.
For 20 years of service from the Sheriff's Department, we would like to recognize Mark Schaefer, Deputy Sheriff, Intermediate Post. His award will be presented by Sheriff Jay Varney.
I'm back. So Mark is one of those guys that we'd all like to have as an employee, and I've got just a couple of quick stories to share because he'll probably say thank you and walk away because he's a man of few words. Mark's super dependable, and he even gives his best sometimes when we have unusual things we need him to do. He had an injury that took him off the road last year, but he was able to work light duty, so he came into dispatch, and I should have known, but I didn't know. So I'm listening to the radio, driving around, and I'm thinking, who is that guy on the radio? He's doing a really good job. But I'm thinking, hey, we didn't hire anybody. So, even dispatch, which isn't a deputy's favorite assignment, Mark did a really good job in there. And then the other thing that Mark is really known for at our agency is, by far, and this is saying something, especially since now he's a canine handler, he has the cleanest car in the whole place. In fact, his car is so clean that at the junction fire, his wife and his son brought us some water in his personal truck. And I was a little busy because, we were right there at the fire station. The fire's right there. And I was helping him unload the truck, and I didn't recognize his wife. And I was talking with his son. I hadn't met him before, and I said, oh, your dad's a deputy. And I looked at the truck, and I said, is your dad Mark Schaefer? Because that truck was so clean, even right next to the fire, that you could have eaten off of it. So Mark has done a wonderful job for us for the past 20 years. He currently is a canine handler. His canine Apex, they've been on the road together about 13, 14 months. He has previously been an FTO and a member of the SWAT team. And you're on the dive team too, were you? No dive? Okay. I'm confusing you with somebody else. But Mark is one of those guys who's always there. He's one of those guys that... what we do in our line of work is when we're driving around, we listen to the radio, and I don't want to say we judge our employees by that, but we get a good feel for our employees that way. And Mark's one of those employees that I know when he's working, if a call's holding or ready to go out, I don't have to worry about it. He's just going to take care of it. So, Mark, congratulations on 20 years with the Sheriff's Office.
Well, I would like to say thank you for the opportunity to work for Madera County. It's been my privilege. I'd like to thank God for this opportunity. Over 20 years ago, about 21 years ago, I got out of the Army for about 4 years of service. Decided I was going to be a paramedic until my brother said, come on and ride along. And that's all it took. He worked for the Fresno County Sheriff's Office. And ever since it's been an adventure. Every day is an adventure. You never know what you're going to get, just like Forrest Gump said. Life's like a box of chocolates. Met a lot of interesting people, learned a lot of things, and made a lot of friends. The job can be stressful at times, and it's stressful on the family. I'd like to thank my wife, Lisa. Lisa has been my rock. She's there every time I get off of work, no matter how stressful the day is. Between us, our 2 kids, and our 4 dogs at home, we got a full house. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service to our country as well. Yeah.
Okay, lastly, for 20 years of service from the Department of Social Services, we would like to award Maria Chapa, Employment Training Worker Supervisor. Her award will be presented by Deborah Martinez, Director of Social Services.
Okay, good morning again, supervisors. Unfortunately, I just realized I really do need my reading glasses. So this time I brought my light and see if this helps a bit, okay?
You want to borrow mine?
Excuse me?
Mine?
I've almost borrowed somebody's. But, okay, so this is Maria Zapata Chapa. She joined the Department of Madera County Department of Social Services on June 11th of 1990 as an eligibility worker. She quickly promoted to an eligibility worker 2 in 91 and then to a 3 as of April 1995. She promoted again to an employment and training worker in September of 1990, and then an employment training worker 2 in April of 2000. In January of 2003, Maria became a certified bilingual worker, allowing her to serve the Spanish-speaking community. And in February of 2007, she was promoted to an eligibility training worker 3 as a lead worker, until her most recent promotion in September of this year as an employment training supervisor. Congratulations to the 20 years of service to the Department of Social Services and the community of Madera County. She is a lovely person.
feel like I have grown up in the Department of Social Services. I love my job. I love serving the community and being able to help people overcome barriers and become self-sufficient. So thank you for the opportunity to serve the community.
And also for social services, we would like to recognize Monica Maxwell, Administrative Analyst 2, and her award will also be presented by Deborah Martinez, Director of Social Services.
Okay. So, Monica Maxwell joined the Department of the County Department of Social Services in April 1st of 1997 as an office assistant to and quickly promoted to program manager secretary in November 1st of 1998. She remained in this position until September of 2005 when she was promoted to a personnel assistant. She promoted again to administrative assistant July 1st of 2008. In this position, she was the assistant to the deputy directors. On April 1st, 2012, she was promoted to her current position as Administrative Analyst 2, with her primary duties revolving around personnel. Monica has been a true asset to the department in every position she has held. Congratulations on the 20 years of service to the County of Madera. Now, I am Monica's supervisor, as she well knows, and the number of times I say her name on any given day is, you wouldn't believe. It's just Monica, 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 or it's email. So I truly appreciate all the help, Monica. You have a tremendous amount of knowledge, and we couldn't do it without you in personnel. Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the board for the recognition. I'd also like to thank my staff at DSS. Without them, I couldn't do my job. And then my DSS family. Personnel is not always an easy thing, and with their support, it's been great. So, only 6 years left.
We're supposed to say that.
16 years?
And lastly, for 20 years of service from the Department of Social Services is Michelle Bennett, Employment and Training Worker 2, presented by Deborah Martinez.
Okay. So I'm here with Michelle Bennett. Michelle Bennett joined the Department of Social Services in Madera County on August 1st of 1997 as an office assistant 2. And then she promoted to data entry operator soon after. On November 1st, 1998, she promoted to eligibility worker 1, and a year later to 2, an eligibility worker 2. She was then promoted again to employment and training worker on August 1st of 2005, and to her current position as an employment training worker 2 on April 1st, 2006, where she currently works with employers throughout the Madera County, obtaining job placements for her welfare to work clients. She's congratulated for her 20 years of service to the Department of Social Services and the community of Madera County. Now, if you look at her, she looks a little petrified. I have seen this woman present to employers and to our staff of over 300 staff, and she has never looked nervous. I actually think she really delayed her return because of her nerves. I'm amazed. I thought she was just going to be out here so confidently, which you should. You've done a tremendous job. Your work with the welfare to work clients is very much appreciated, and I know the employers love you.
Woo. I just want to say thank you very much for the recognition. I do have a little bit of a flaw in my character. I can sell, a stone to someone, but unfortunately I have a difficult time selling myself to others. But I do enjoy the opportunities that have been provided to me through Welfare to Work and being able to work with our community employers and helping our clientele secure and develop employment. Unfortunately, they're probably making more money than me, but it is a good feeling. Thank you so very much.
I've known you 27 years, and I've never known you to be nervous. So, you know what? You do a great job, and thank you.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
This concludes our 2017 Employee Service Credit Awards. Again, I would like to invite everybody into our reception area for some refreshments. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, you wanted to take a break and then break for lunch until 1 o'clock?
Come back at 1 o'clock. Yes. Perfect.
David Rogers to the dais. David Rogers.
Okay, Rhonda.
We're ready for item number 6, Mr. Chairman, consent calendar.
The consent calendar? Wow.
Any board members have any questions on the consent calendar?
Take it to the public. Take it to the public.
None at all? Well, let's take it out to the public. Any comments from the public?
I move we approve the...
Second.
And it was a good job. I didn't find nothing, no mistakes or nothing in it.
Okay.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, 1 absent. 7A, Community and Economic Development Department, Planning Division, 2018 Agricultural Preserves and Farmland Security Zones. 1, hearing to consider the proposed ordinance for the rezoning lands currently proposed for inclusion in the Agricultural Preserve Farmland Security Zone program for 2018. 2, hearing to consider approval of a resolution establishing 2018 agricultural preserves 1695, 1696, 1698, 1699, 1700, 1701, 1702, 1703, and 1704, and farmland security zones 284, 285, 286, 287, 288, and 289. 3, discussion and consideration of entering into an agricultural preserves and farmland security zones contract for the year 2018 and authorize the chairman to execute the contracts in accordance with this action.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Matt Traber, Planning Director here, along with Jamie Bax, who's responsible for our Williamson Act program. This is our annual item before the board to put properties into the Williamson Act and the farmland security. Jamie has a brief PowerPoint presentation for the board and the public as well.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Before you are this year's contracts. So what Rhonda mentioned was, as part of the program, they have properties have to be zoned a specific zone district, which is the ARE 40 zone district. So this year we received requests by the Mosession, the Gooding White properties, Frowsing, and Sing properties to be rezoned to that zone district because they weren't previously zoned that before. This item is considered exempt under CEQA. All new ag preserves are considered exempt under CEQA. So I'm just going to go through a list of maps and their acreages and their locations. So the first is 1695, which is the Mosession property. It's prime ag land, 154.59 acres. The next is 1696, which is also Mosession. It's prime ag land as well, 29.7 acres, and is surrounded by contracted lands. The next is 1698, which is non-prime, but it is 128.99 acres total. It is grazing land up in the foothills. And the next is 1699, which is prime ag land and 16 acres and is surrounded completely by contracted lands. 1700 is also prime, 77.65 acres. 1701 is non-prime, 159.5 acres of grazing land. 1702 is prime, 190.26 acres. And 1703 is non-prime, 1,907.03 acres of grazing land, just east of the Bonadeli Ranchos. Ag Preserve 1704 is prime ag land, 232.88 acres. And the farmland security zones, which are all prime ag land, all irrigated. The first is 515.82. The second, 157.5 acres. 141.21 acres. 117.44 acres, 29.58 acres, which is completely surrounded by contracted lands, and the last is 13,356.99 acres, which is also John Hancock or the Triangle T properties. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the rezonings that are a condition of approval, and it's also further recommended that the chairman execute the contracts in accordance with this action, and I'm available for any questions.
This is a public hearing. Any comments from the public?
Hello. My name is Judy White. My husband Ralph and I, along with our neighbor Gene Gooding, are trying to get our parcels into the protection of the Williamson Act. We own parcels situated near the old mining town of Hildreth, California. Our property and the surrounding areas are significant to and steeped in the history of Madera County. The vast majority of the neighbors in that area have their property protected under the Williamson Act. In order to help protect this historically significant area, we too are requesting the same protection. Our property was settled by the Reuben and Carolyn Williams family in 1882. They were the first registered owners. Once gold was discovered in that area, the town of Hildreth boomed. There were numerous gold mines in the area. It is estimated that the town's population was anywhere from 600 to 3,000 at any given time. There were numerous saloons, hotels, and other businesses. Like many small mining communities, it thrived as long as the gold flowed. The Williams family was prominent in mining and many of the businesses in the town. They grew vegetables on their land to feed the miners. They built the Hanover School on their property so that the miners' children would have a school to be educated at. The Williams family lived on this property for over 50 years. In 1936, they sold the land to the Larson family. The Larson family owned the land for an additional 81 years after that, until selling it to us late last year. The Williamson Act plays a critical role in preserving rangeland and protects the land from development. Bringing our properties into the Williamson Act will help preserve and protect the history of this area from being forever erased, along with protecting watersheds and native animal habitats. We are requesting your vote that you vote for our parcels on Long Gold to come under the protection of the Williamson Act. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else want to speak? If not, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the board for a move to approve.
Second. 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yes.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, 1 absent.
And Ms. White can talk to you guys, or who would she talk to? Okay.
Thank you.
Item 7B, County Administration Department, hearing to consider solar power purchase agreements. 1, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution approving power purchase agreements and site lease agreements with California Solar One, LLC for solar systems for the implementation of certain energy-related improvements to county-owned facilities and making certain findings pursuant to Government Code Sections 4217.12 and 42177.13. 2, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution approving power purchase agreements with California Solar One, LLC for solar systems for the implementation of certain energy-related improvements to county leased facilities and making certain findings pursuant to Government Code Sections 4217.12 and 42177.13.
Good afternoon. Sean Kirkpatrick from the Madera County Administrative Office. Just wanted to say this is the second phase of solar in Madera County, and we had a very successful phase 1 and are already seeing the savings from that. And so right here, jumping into it, on August 2017, the county released a request for proposal for solar systems and power purchase agreements. We're pursuing that option in order to avoid the upfront out-of-pocket costs to the county and the cost for design, installation, and maintenance are going to be borne by the provider. We had one bidder, that was Optera Energy, and after reviewing the county facilities, Optera came with a proposal for the 5 different sites, which would actually be 8 different individual locations, 4 of them at the Future Health and Social Services Office Complex, and then one at the Sheriff's Office, the Dublin Plant, Madera County Almond Yard, and the Oakhurst Wastewater Treatment Plant. So under these purchase power agreements and lease agreements, Optera would design and install and maintain the solar systems. The county would purchase electricity through these agreements for the next 20 to 25 years, locking in that rate. The county would have limited risk since Optera is responsible for the performance of the solar system. And the county will have a purchase option at years 7, 15, 20, and 25. If the purchase option is not exercised, then the panels can be removed at no cost to the county. And before you today, you have 8 power purchase agreements to consider. 4 of them at the Public Health and Social Services buildings going in, the Sheriff's Office, the Dublin Plant, the County Almond Yard, and the Oakhurst Wastewater Treatment Plant. There's 3 site leases for the Dublin Plant, the Madera County Almond Yard, and the Wastewater Treatment Plant. The other 5 would have to be executed by the owners of those other sites. For the Sheriff's Office and for the land for the new complex for Health and Social Services. So these are right here. We have Ashu from Optera who will be able to give more information.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kirkpatrick. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, staff. Ashu Jain with Optera Energy Services. It's good to be back in front of your board after, 3 or maybe 5 years. So I'd like to briefly go through our presentation, and I'm not going to take a lot of time. So I'm waiting for, you already have a copy, I'm assuming, in front of you. So these are some of our county projects. We've done a lot of work in surrounding counties. I'm going to so in the next slide, slide 6, we're showing what we did for phase 1, what we call phase 1 now. And it was a 1.4 megawatt solar project at the jail site, and the solar panels here at the parking structure across the road here. And also we completely renovated our library HVAC system. It's a good project. It's been performing as expected. So in front of your board today is we have brought forward, we've been working with staff for over, almost 6 to 8 months and trying to size these systems, and technically they've evaluated the systems. So we have 8 projects, total of approximately 1.9 megawatts, 1936 kilowatts. I'm going to run through these preliminary layouts. So this is the HSS building. So it's really 4 separate parcels, 4 buildings, and we've sized the solar project to meet the demand, the projected demand for each one of these 4 buildings. And please, if you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt me. The Sheriff's Office, we are building a solar shade structure again for parking, and that's been sized for the electricity consumption at the building. The Oakhurst plant is a little interesting. Its consumption is actually more than what we could avoid with the solar project because we couldn't find locations to install solar panels there. It was really tight. So we really, I want to thank Public Works. They really worked, diligently with us on all these projects to identify the space and all the other constraints. So every layout that I'm showing you has gone through not only the administrative office but the Public Works office. the Dublin plant, that was the available space, and it actually pretty much takes care of the load of the Dublin plant. In the almond yard, we're avoiding the entire electricity use at that plant. So I'm going to quickly go through the financials. It's a total of, thank you. Like I mentioned, total of 1.9 megawatts that we'll be installing in these 8 sites. The HSS B, C, and D buildings are 20-year lease terms, and the sheriff's office a 20-year PPA term, not a lease, PPA term, or lease and PPA. And the other 4 buildings are 25-year terms. So we'll be owning the project, and we'll completely maintain it. The county doesn't have to do anything. It's completely owned and operated by us. And in the spreadsheet, in the cash flow, what we are showing is, the first column shouldn't have any dollar signs. It's the amount of kilowatt hour generated. You have the right slides there, and the numbers correct in the slide. So 3.1 million kilowatt hours is going to be generated for these 8 sites. Currently, you're paying 22 cents per kilowatt hour on an average for these 8 sites. And that includes the avoided, our projections for the HSS buildings. The solar, unfortunately, doesn't avoid the entire electricity cost. You still have to pay PG&E for some of the costs. So even though you're paying 22 cents, you're only going to benefit by 18.8 cents. So you still have to pay PG&E approximately, 2.5 cents, because that's related to their fixed charges, demand charges that cannot be avoided by the solar project. So in the first year, you're paying 18.8, and the PPA price it's different for each building, but on an average, it works out to 16.47 cents, and it's fixed for the term. So the PPA price, the price that we are charging you for every kilowatt hour of electricity that the solar project produces, is fixed. It's the same price that you'll be paying for 20 years. And as you know, PG&E's costs keeps increasing. So as time goes by, this project is going to deliver more and more savings to you. So we have assumed a 5% escalation of electricity cost. Over the 30-year life of the solar project, your savings work out to approximately $16 million. I think, let's see what's on the next slide. So you're, with this project, you benefit by $16 million over the life of the project. You'll have a fixed cost of electricity, so you are basically hedging the price of electricity. You don't have to, depend on PG&E's price increases. And when I say that the levelized cost of energy is 15 cents per kilowatt hour for 30 years, that's just the amount of what you're paying over 30 years will be, it's the total project cost divided by the total kilowatt hours generated. So essentially, you're buying with this project electricity at 15 cents a kilowatt hour for 30 years. And, right now you're paying 22, which is going to escalate. So that's how attractive this project is. And there are some other benefits listed here, but, we try to work with local contractors as much as we can, and we're again going to try and do that. There's substantial environmental benefits, and, it's a system that's owned and operated by us, so there's no, you don't need any staff to work on this. I think, If your board approves this project today, we promise to start the design immediately, and then, in the next 15 months, because some of your HSS buildings will come online later, I think over 15 months we'll be able to complete the entire project. The first 4 buildings will be done pretty soon, and then we'll wait for the HSS buildings to come on, and then we'll complete those projects. But we hope to be done by March of 2019. Be happy to answer any questions.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yeah. First question is, how come we haven't got the sheriff office up in Oakhurst on this?
I couldn't respond to that, Supervisor Wheeler. I did not do the evaluation or make the recommendations on the buildings.
Well, so all of the proposed sites by Optera, we've looked at it, and financially they all make sense. So right now, everything that's been proposed, we're saying absolutely these make sense. So that could could definitely be more sites in the future that we would be looking at potentially.
I think we looked at it, Supervisor Wheeler, and I think from what I remember, it was the way the parking lot was laid out, there was not a lot of space to put shade structures. So it would have been a very small project. That's what I recollect when I looked at it last.
We've got a pretty good parking lot out in front. I mean,
you do?
A good place to put a panel across it all the way from one end to the bank clear up to where you pull in there. I
thought I looked at it, but we'll be happy to look at it again, and we'll bring it back. I mean, we're going to be here.
I mean, I just don't know why we didn't do it, because we did the sheriff's office down here, and it's a little older than one down here. It's
right
down here, but I think we ought to look at it. I think we ought to look at all the years and maybe do the fire station there at the same time. That's ours, fire station, right? So, and we got a big parking lot for them in the back. So, but we can look at it and see. And then the second thing is on the page 13, the financial page, and the cost per electric. Why after 25 years that the PPA price goes to zero? And it's going down. It goes 16 all that time, then it goes to 13 after 20, and then it goes to 0 after 26.
Okay, so looking at over the 30-year span, it's an average of 15 cents per kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
But we get a lot of those savings at the end of the project. It's increasing savings over time. Looking at as PG&E rates are likely to increase. So right now, the locked-in price initially would be the $16.47.
Right.
But there's some of the projects are 20 years, and then some are at the 25, and so that explains the difference. Once at the end of a project, if the purchase option were exercised, then at that point the price for under that column would show a 0, such as for the last 5 years. For years 26 through 30, it says 0. That doesn't mean we're not getting any energy. It means we're not paying for it, because if we exercise the purchase options on the sites where that's what we want to do, then we're paying 0 under the directly for power. And the cost then would be under the solar maintenance. So you'll see that as 3 columns to the right would be the maintenance cost. So if a purchase options exercise, right now all of these projections show it with the purchase options exercise. Right now at the end of the PPA term, it looks like right now, looking ahead, that's what will make sense. We'll really be making that determination in 20 years and in 25 years as to whether or not that's what makes sense then.
Yeah.
But right now, looking at it, it would make sense to execute those purchase options 20, 25 years from now, dropping the price of energy because we've purchased the panels, and then the cost shifts under the maintenance cost.
Okay, so the purchase price, if we decide to do any of those years, 15 or whatever it was, is it a set price right now, or what that price will be? Or
the total price across all 8 projects would come out to about 16.47 cents.
No. What would be the purchase price?
$221,000.
Oh, for the buyout. Yes.
The buyout price for all the 8 projects in year 20 and 25.
Sorry, for 5 of the projects.
Okay, 7-year. What would the buyout price be?
Year 7. The price is with
7,
staff.
15, 20, and 25.
Right.
So it would definitely be significantly more, and those are all in the contracts.
So the 25-year is set at 200 and something thousand, you said?
Well, so for this, it shows the purchase executed at the end of the PPAs because that's actually the cheapest buyout, waiting the longest length of time. So if we wait till the end of the PPA contracts, then the ones that are ending at year 20, those would be purchased at that time for $46,500, and then for the ones ending in year 25. The purchase price would be $174,000, almost $175,000, and then the total spent and buyout if we wait till the end of the PPA term, which is the most beneficial for the county to wait for the end of these contracts that are proposed, buying it at the end of it, and then that has the least cost to the county for purchase. If we purchase them early, which is certainly an option.
Those prices are set in the contract.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
And if we do execute those early, we'll need to look at this really at the year 7 and at each of those option years for purchase to see whether or not it makes sense to buy it then or to wait longer. Okay. Right now, looking at it, it looks like the best option is to wait to the end of those PPA contracts because it'll be the least costly for the county to purchase them at that time.
Okay.
And we'll have the most savings.
So, say we decide to purchase year 2025, how efficient will these projects be?
So there's a degradation rate that's built into the project. If you see in your cash flow, it's the last row, it says 0.5%. So after 20 years, the panels are guaranteed to produce at least, to degrade no more than 15% at the end of 25 years. So they'll be generating at 85%.
85%?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the actual projected electricity generation and the
it's in the column, first column, or second column.
Yeah, second column, right after year. That will show the expected amount of energy generation each year. Of course, this number depends on weather and other factors over time. I would say that it's likely that by the end of the 30 years, the projected energy generation would actually be higher than this. I would say that these are conservative projection estimates because at some point during the lifespan, the 30-year lifespan of the panels, it actually plateaus in the degradation, is my understanding of the technology. So this shows, at a minimum, this is really what we should expect. And then if for some reason these systems are not producing what are projected, and that information it was provided by Altera, there are actually assurances in the contracts and the power purchase agreements that say if it's not producing at least to a certain percent of this amount that we're projecting, then there's a shortfall rate, which basically means that the county receives money to help offset our additional costs for using PG&E for the rest of the energy we need. So that shortfall rate actually helps offset the risk of the county if for some reason it didn't meet these power generation projections.
Okay. Supervisor Rogers?
Yeah, just a few specific questions on the...
Yes, sir.
You already gave us the production reduction coefficient. It's 0.5?
0.5% every year.
0.5% every year. And are these monocrystallic faces?
Yeah, these are monocrystalline. Yes.
Yeah. And what can you tell me the brand of the panel? Or?
We haven't decided, but probably going to be LG.
Okay.
So LG is a Korean make.
That's a very good panel on the market.
Right. That is one of the best panels.
I like SunPower, but that's the Cadillac.
SunPower is a Cadillac, and it's it's also a competitor. So,
sure.
So it's difficult to buy panels from them. They'll jack up their prices.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they require their installers to install them in order.
Right. They have their own
25-year warranty.
Yeah.
And a lower coefficient of reduction, but
right.
You guys are going to be maintaining the panels, which is very important to the production of the panels. So you'll clean them and keep that all well done. I see you shaking your head. Yes. In the production of the panels, the most important factors. There's two important factors in design. That's true southerly position, and then of course the pitch. And 7 and 12 pitch in our region is the most optimal pitch. You can collect evenly without having a tracking panel that adjusts to the sun. You can collect
all the shade structures are actually at 7 degrees in our case. We've designed it at 7.
So you take all that into consideration when you're designing the system so that you get the very best production out of it.
Yes, sir.
Because it's important to you to get the best production. And I'm only asking, I know the answer to all of these questions, but I'm only asking because I want people to understand that if these don't produce, you're the one that's really hurt by it.
Right. It's the same situation even on your current solar project. We have a guarantee in place. We're guaranteeing 95% of the production.
Right.
And we have, by the way, we maintain these projects too. The one at the jail and this, we can clean them. We do everything.
Right. Right.
And Supervisor Rogers, if you ever decide to go into the solar industry, let me know.
Thank you. It'll have to be a year after I leave office. So.
All right,
Supervisor, thank you.
Yeah, what's the serial number for each pit? I'm just kidding. So I just wanted, like on the MD10A Dublin plant. So right now, a lot of our special districts, if we had a tank there, which we don't, that'll be the next thing, right, Mohammed?
Yes, sir, we have kept space for that. So
good. Yeah. But so the way that we've operated a lot of these, when they do have those, we pump during the night times. To avoid the peak day rates. There's no peak rates here. There's no spikes during different times. Can we still pump at night when there's demand on water systems, when we don't have tanks to do that demand?
No, all that is, you still would like to do all those conservation things. You still want to be pumping at night if you can. That lowers your cost of electricity. So you definitely want to be continuing all that. You're paying us a set rate for every kilowatt hour we generate. But PG&E is still going to charge you based on your load profile. So if you suddenly shift all your pumping during the hours of, afternoon, you're going to be paying them more. You're still, PG&E is still charging you, and, when we say that you're paying 22 cents right now, that 22 cents can jump up if you start consuming all your electricity in the daytime.
So I would like to point out that, of course, as Ashu said, there are still going to be some costs from PG&E. It's especially with peak usage when it is needed during the day at any site. There's always going to be times where the energy use is going to spike during certain hours and during certain days of the hottest days of the year. And that can't be completely avoided without really oversizing the solar system, and then that just incurs a much greater cost and eats into the savings. Financially, it makes the most sense for the county for us to try to, produce overall for most of the energy that we're going to be using, and just really offset those costs as much as possible without producing more energy than we're going to be needing the rest of the time. So it's kind of a give and take and a balance there. So although there will still be some costs, if the system is producing a lot of energy during the day, then my understanding is that the Devlin plant could actually run more during that day to use the energy being produced, that it can be matched to a certain extent, so we're not producing energy that then is not being used for that particular site. So then, of course, if the plant is needed beyond what's produced by the system, then it's most efficient to really run it at night. Okay. And so it's going to really depend on the energy level produced and when, and then matching it up to try to use the energy being produced most efficiently.
And you'll work with staff to coordinate those times or to really help to dial that in? See Ahmad coming up.
Yes, Supervisor. The advantage that we have at Dublin is we have the newest well with the newest equipment with the variable frequency drive. So and the whole system is all connected. So even using Dublin wisely, now that it has solar and it's the most energy efficient, we're able to save a lot of energy on other PG&E bills within the system.
Okay.
So we can capitalize on that savings, and it's shared by the whole district. So.
Perfect.
It's kind of hard to show all the savings.
Rogers?
Yeah, and I don't want to assume anything, so I need to ask these questions of staff to make sure. We've studied our rate schedules and made sure that they're optimum, and also are we charged on-demand charges? I mean, I've got a large well that I get a demand charge on whether I use it or not, and it'll be significant. I mean, it's a significant amount of the monthly bill. So that's two questions for you.
There are peak usage charges, which really come down to the most amount of energy used during the particular time frame, so each month.
Yeah.
And so that does account for a high portion of the current bills. Yeah. But of course, the peak usage, the way the rates are charged by offsetting it with the solar, as that's being that energy is accrued during the day, it's really going to lower the energy profile for the use of the grid from looking like a spike to a much lower.
So will that lower your demand charge?
It will, significantly.
Yeah, that's an important factor in actually saving money in this whole thing.
So that's where most of the savings are coming from.
Because it can be hefty.
I do want to say one thing on record, that when I made the joke about to Supervisor Rogers to contact me, he wants to get into the solar industry, it was a complete joke, and there was no offer made.
Oh, now he takes it back. I
have just kidding. I have county council looking at me, and it's that was a joke.
We know that, Ashu. Thank you.
This is a public hearing, so does anybody from the public have any questions?
No one from SunPower?
So we'll close it, bring it back.
Move to approve items 1 and 2.
Second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
For the
Thank
great
you, everyone.
job, and our other one's working perfect. So.
People of the ranch.
Saving money right along.
7C, Board of Directors, Special District, County Service Area 3, Parksdale Public Works Department Administration Division. Hearing to consider adoption of a resolution setting water and sewer service fees for the County Service Area 3, Parksdale.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Again, Ahmad Al-Qiyat, your Public Works Director. With me here is Mr. Mohammed Al-Khatami, our Public Works Special Districts Manager. And also our consultant, Mr. Eric Helgeson with Bartle Wells and Associates. On November 15, 2016, your board directed staff to complete a rate study for all water and wastewater districts, and we approved a contract with Bartle Wells to conduct those studies. Today we are coming to you for a protest hearing for your approval. With this, I'll hand it to Mohammed to give you a brief history of CSA 3 Parksdale. And then we're here to also take all your questions.
Thank you, Ahmad. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, so just to go back in time a little bit to discuss why we're here and why we're doing these rate studies. Obviously, the districts are in dire needs of these increases. We're doing the rate increases in different phases. Our top priority is to complete the studies for the districts with the most county debt, and second, to complete the districts that need the increases the most and that are behind on the debt as well. We took a two-step approach for these studies. One is get the debt paid for as soon as possible, and two, making these districts self-sustainable with a rate that is appropriate for the district. The last sewer and water rate increase for Parksdale was set on October 11, 2005. Since the last rate increase, the district has accumulated approximately $350,000 in county-funded debt. With the approval of this rate increase, this debt will be paid back within approximately 3 calendar years, in addition to bringing the rates to a level which is adequate to cover the operation and maintenance of this district. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Helgeson.
Thanks, Mohammed. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you for having me here again to present the study on Parksdale. I also want to thank Ahmad, Mohammed, and Andrea for working so hard and being so responsive to help us really lay the solid financial foundation for these districts for them to be able to provide the high level of service for the future. Parksdale, as was mentioned, does have a significant amount of debt to the general fund and some to the city of Madera as well for the sewer service. Our main priority with this study was to bring the district to be financially sufficient, meaning that rates pay for operations and capital projects as well as pay back the debt owed by the district. I do have a piece of paper sheet for the .cam that yes. Oh, sorry. And our objective is for the debt to be repaid over the course of 3 years, starting with a partial year in fiscal year 17-18. Thank you. And so this is a chart which shows the combined cash flow of the water and sewer service, and what it shows is that each column is the total expense in each year. In the first 2 fiscal years, part of the expense is funded via a loan from the county. That's the yellow portion of the column. And then when the rates go into effect, which would be midway through fiscal year 17-18, the blue portion of the columns represents the part of the expense which is repaying the debt back to the county. So you can see the rates bring the revenues, which is the green line, to be sufficient to pay expenses and debt service, and then at the end of the 5-year plan, the district will start to build reserves to a prudent level to be able to pay for any sort of unforeseen maintenance issue that occurs. And so below that are the proposed rates. Sorry, this is. So the proposed rates for water would go from $27.05 to $45.45, and the proposed rates for sewer would go from $10.09 to $27.95 in the first year. The sewer service is a collection system which feeds into the city of Madera, and so that's for maintaining the district's portion, the district's sewer system, the sewer collection system feeding to the city. This is a survey of a regional survey to put the water rates in context. It shows some of the special districts as well as some of the neighboring cities. And the proposed rates are putting the district kind of in the middle of the spectrum when it comes to water rates. And again, the water rates have not been increased in quite a long time. So this is basically 12 years. So this is basically bringing it back into keeping up with inflation, being able to pay for the current cost of running a water system. And finally, just to show a breakdown of what the customer's bill would be, sorry, that's I obviously don't use these very often. This is just a breakdown of the total rate, and at the bottom I included the current city portion of their sewer bill as well to show the total monthly amount that the customer will now be paying for water and sewer service. So that concludes the summary of the district, and open for any questions.
Board have any questions?
I just got one little.
Go ahead.
Does this district have meters on their house? No.
No, they don't.
There's a woman called me this week, and I was not on this one. She said they have meters and you haven't been reading them. Are you going to start reading some of those up there? Or are they just, if they're not being read, they won't be read again? Or
There are new new developments that are done by self-help. Those have meters, but unfortunately, until everybody has meters, we can't charge a metered rate.
Okay.
So once that's done, we'll look into using a metered rate in the
great
future.
answer, so I can give that to her. Thank you.
Then you'll pay according to usage. Yeah.
Correct.
Any other question from the board? If not, we'll take it out to the public. It's still a public hearing. Close the public hearing, bring it back to the board for action.
Move to, it's your district. Let me go ahead and make a motion. Make a motion to approve 7D.
Chairman?
7C.
I think we have to hear from the clerk of the board to hear any protests that were received and the total number.
I don't have the poll numbers, but there were no protests were received.
None? Oh, that's good.
No.
Great. Okay, I move to approve 7C then.
I stand corrected. We received one protest letter.
Only one. Okay.
Okay.
Second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez? Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent.
Thank you.
8A, Board of Supervisors Department, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution appointing Visit Yosemite, Madera County as the official liaison of the Yosemite-Madera County Film Commission for calendar year 2018.
I think we should take another break.
Yeah. Break time. Go ahead.
I can't eat twice at the vineyard. Thank you for having me. My name is Rhonda Salisbury with Visit Yosemite Madera County. We are your tourism bureau, and we are requesting to look at and take over the film commission as well. So it's really funny. I actually spent 20 minutes this morning looking for a windbreaker that I had when I worked at the Pines Resort when we did the Great Outdoors. The Bass Lake Chamber was also the Bass Lake Film Commission, and I have a windbreaker from 86 or so. Yes, I have my photo with them. I was a lot younger. But so I've been involved with the Film Commission before. The Film Commission was started in 82, part of the Bass Lake Chamber. We wanted to get films up. They were doing a lot of films in California, and so Bass Lake and the local area was a great place, and Madera County was a great place to film. Then it looks like from the records I can find about sometime after that, the Southern Yosemite Visitors Bureau took over, and then in 1998 it looks like that the Bureau then hired on with Dave Woolen as the film commissioner, and then he's been running that ever since. I think we split off with Dave Woolen about 2008, and then the county kind of funded him on and off. It's a little bit of history on the film commission. What we're asking for is just a year to basically look at the film commission. I have not run one before. Well, I worked for one a long time ago, but I have not run one for a long time. We need to build a new website because the website is down. It's gone. We need to get a new brochure. I've talked to the California Film Commission, asking them, and this is the purpose for the resolution as well, to recognize us as the official as the official film commission. We have to have one of those in Madera County. I think we all know the value of that. I believe it's going to be a lot of work to do it right. So this year we're going to do some back-end work. We're going to look at a locator services, maybe find out what production companies are looking for as far as photos, as far as website. It's a little different world than having 1,000 photos on a website. Now, they can go on Google and kind of drill down if they want. So we want to really make it nice and up to date, and then come back to you at the end of next year and say, okay, this is what we found out. This is what we think it's going to take to run the film commission. And this is maybe a couple people that have said that they might contract with us. I do feel, even though I know we are stretched to the max with our employees and myself, but I do feel it's a good place to have as part of the Visitors Bureau, as part of tourism and economic development for Madera County. So that's what we're asking, and if you have any questions.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yeah, it's time for us to move on and get back to where we were before, and it is so important. We should get those reports. I mean, it brings in millions of dollars to our county, and so I think this is a great move, and I want to thank you and your team. You got something to say, Lenny? Let her say it then. But anyway, thank you so much. So,
thank you.
It's a positive move.
I think it's a good move. Everything I've seen come out of your office has always been top notch, and I have all the confidence in you in the world. Just as there's a guy here locally that actually lives in District 1 that has a production company. He just filmed and did a documentary on something to do with the unsinking myths of the Titanic, and shot a lot of it in Madera County. And no one thinks when the Film Commission knew about that, but it was on Stars. He brought Ed Asner here, and I got to have lunch with Ed Asner. Ed Asner was the captain of the Titanic in the movie, so has a lot of connections to LA. So his name is Ryan Katzenbach. He'd be a good.
Ryan what?
I'll get you. It's KATZENBACH, I think.
Yeah, if you could shoot me his contact.
Yeah.
Anything.
I just think it's a good starter, and kind of working with him and seeing where we can take it, because we've got great places to shoot, and I think we really need to utilize those. And we all loved that Great Outdoors was shot here, but we need to move on and have another feature film or something done here, so we can show how we're progressing.
Been
we
a
all
long
lived on
time.
Candy and Dan Aykroyd.
Everybody would have known that documentary had been filmed if we would have been.
And it was good. We had one feature
involved.
film, right? Lightning can strike 66 times into the head. That's a little Great Outdoors reference.
That's awesome.
Very, very good.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I think you're the logical organization to head this, and with your knowledge of the county itself, that gives you a unique set of information. Pardon me. I'm sorry. I got to start over. You're the right organization to head this with your location, your knowledge of the county. You have a unique set of information that you can impart to film institutes that would be looking for the opportunity to film here. We have a number of people, like as Brett said, that do that here in this county. We have one organization that filmed the documentary Tapped Out, and about water, and they live up in Oakhurst.
Oh yeah, the ILOs. We work with them.
Great
Greg
people, great people, and
we're working
did
with
a
them now.
fantastic. That went national, and that was big with PBS.
So is this Outside with Greg Aiello, which we helped start.
Right. And they do a fantastic job. In fact, they film on a number of projects and utilize the region for that resource. So, yeah, we have our own up and comings, and we have some real hitters here. So I think you guys are the right organization to head this up.
Thank you.
We'll take it out to the public. Any comments from the public? That will bring it back for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent.
Thank you.
Get them, girls.
8B, County Administration Department Vehicle Lease Program Pilot. 1, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution authorizing the purchasing agent to execute an interlocal agreement with Region 8 Education Service Center, Pittsburgh, Texas, for the cooperative acquisition of vehicles through a vehicle leasing program. 2, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution approving master equity lease agreement and related documents with the Enterprise FM Trust for the acquisition of vehicles through a vehicle lease program and authorizing the chairman or his designees to execute.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Joel Begay, County Administrative Office. With me today on the table is Steve Von Flew from Central Garage and Ms. Laura Slater from Enterprise Fleet Management. The recommendations before you today is a culmination of several months of analysis that county staff in cooperation with Enterprise has done on our our fleet program, county vehicles. We have a brief presentation today to show you the results of that analysis and walk you through the recommendations. And we'll start with Steve.
Good afternoon, Supervisors. Steve Von Flew, Central Garage Supervisor. Central Garage services and maintains sheriff vehicles and light-duty vehicles, cars and pickup trucks. Currently 290 plus, give or take a few. We have 63 sheriffs, 227 county vehicles, of which 169 are from non-subvented departments. Non-subvented vehicles are charged a mileage rate that covers the cost of maintenance, fuel, and depreciation. Depreciation is charged on a per-mile basis, and depending on the vehicle, but typically it's depreciated over 130,000 miles. Vehicles are replaced currently on a mileage target, typically about 130,000 miles. For non-sheriff vehicles, it may take over 14 years before the replacement mileage is reached. The average age of the county fleet is currently about 15 years, which creates several challenges for the county. When I came over 10 years ago, we had vehicles over 30 years old. And currently, when we're finished with our current round of replacements that we're doing now, the oldest vehicle in the fleet should be about 15 years. So our average age has been dropping, even with the downturn when we only replaced, I think, 4 cars one year.
So just to highlight some of the major challenges, with an older average age of the fleet, you have older cars in your system, and that requires more resources to maintain, primarily because the typical warranty is 5 years or 60,000, whichever comes first. So if you're averaging 15, you got 10 years of the vehicle outside of warranty. So anything significant breaks on the powertrain, that's a significant cost. With an older fleet, too, we're paying a mileage penalty. So an average 15-year-old car today is 5 miles per gallon less efficient than the current mid-size vehicle today. So equating that to the number of cars we have, non-sheriff, that would amount to be $115,000 based on the price of fuel that we pay today at $275. It also creates a huge burden on the replacement fund. Even though the county pays a depreciation, has a replacement fund, our mileage rate hasn't quite kept up with inflation and vehicle prices. So just show you graphically, the blue line is what a Chevy Malibu costed 15 years ago and what a Chevy Malibu costs today. And what's presented there is the percentage increase in the government price for a mid-size American car. Our mileage rate during that time, although it has increased, it is on a lower curve. So that gap between the two lines is essentially depreciation charges that didn't go into the replacement fund. So we keep chasing it. We keep keeping the vehicles longer. You can only do one of two things: run the car longer, or you replace it with a smaller vehicle, which has happened. So the central garage evaluates replacements and what makes sense, but that can't be true for 100% of the cars. When you need an Impala, when you need a full size, you'll need a full size, and we need to make sure we collect enough funds. So what's proposed today is to think outside the box and see how we can achieve those things without significant investment, without increasing mileage rates significantly higher. So the Enterprise Vehicle Lease Program is an opportunity for us to look at that model to both decrease the average age of our fleet and get some of those replacements there and be also more nimble. One of the challenges with our current model is that if we spend the money on the car, we have to keep it almost always 10 years or more. What happens if the program contracts? Then you're still stuck with that car. You're rotating into a different program that may not necessarily need it because you have to keep the car. With a vehicle lease, it's an average term of about 5 years. That's the typical for government agencies. We're more nimble. And based on our current projections, we feel that we can achieve the same mileage rate with an old program by using the fleet program. So when we did our models for the mid-sized car, where our mileage rate needs to go to keep up with inflation is about 56 cents a mile. With this program for the same car, we're about 0.01 higher under this model. But the benefits of it, we're probably going to offset our fuel costs, and of course, eventually our repair costs would go down. I'm going to turn over to Laura to go over the fleet program from Enterprise.
Hi, I'm Laura. Thank you for having me today. So as Joel and Steve both mentioned, we've been working together to come up with a plan, and Steve and his team have done a really good job of decreasing the age of the fleet, but there's still some work that can be done, and that's kind of where we're going to come in and help. And so like Joel had mentioned, some of the main advantages of a program with us is as you reduce the age of the fleet, you'll see improved fuel efficiency, which Joel had mentioned today. You're about 5 miles per gallon under what national averages are, and then again, as the fleet continues to decrease in age, you'll increase that number, which will inherently decrease your overall fuel spend. You'll also see a reduction in overall maintenance expenses, as well as improved safety. Of course, newer vehicles have better and better safety features, so as you reduce the age of the fleet, you'll have safer vehicles, which helps, with risk and liability and exposure. You still get to leverage the government discounts that you have. The nice thing is that through Enterprise, you can leverage those through all manufacturers, so we're not tied to one manufacturer. We're going to look every year to ensure that we're showing you the lowest total cost of ownership vehicle, and then help when it comes to right typing the vehicle. Like Joel had mentioned, what maybe was the right vehicle 10 years ago may not be today. So that's kind of where the vehicle recommendations come in, and then we're always going to look at, again, total cost of ownership. So not just the acquisition price, but what's the anticipated maintenance, what's the anticipated mileage as far as miles per gallon, as well as the resale at the end, and then that's where the recommendations come from. You will have us at your access for the disposal of the vehicles, so when it does come time to dispose of the vehicle, Enterprise will do that for you, which will help increase the end value, which the county gets to keep the proceeds of. And then lastly, and one of the biggest things is our dedicated local account representation. So working with Steve and Joel, we've come up with a plan for the original pilot program, and then the goal is that for the next round we'll come back, get approval, and then at that point in time we'll be working together to ensure that we're making good recommendations year over year and continue to earn the business of the county that way.
So, in conclusion, just to wrap things up, so there's 2 recommendations for the board, for your board to consider today. It's to adopt 2 resolutions. The first resolution is to approve an interlocal acquisition agreement. What this really, it's a competitively bid consortium where Enterprise is a winning bidder, so it allows us to participate here and meet our competitive bid requirements being a government agency. The second one is to adopt a resolution to approve all the necessary equity lease and maintenance agreements. We need to approve it once, and when we need to replace a car, there would be an addendum highlighting the numbers per se for each car. Those cars, what we're proposing for the pilot project is 13 vehicles, and these are 13 vehicles that would have been in the replacement schedule for the next round. Anyway, so we're proposing to replace the next round through a lease program. Staff will then use that period to analyze and validate what our projections are, whether we can really keep the mileage rates at or about the same, and while still reaping the benefits of turning over cars faster and keeping the fleet younger. And then we'll return to your board with more recommendations if we're going to implement it on a bigger scale. So those are 2 recommendations today, and all 3 of us are here for any questions you may have.
Any questions from
Yep.
the board?
I do. I think this is a great program, just going through it and where we can save the money. I think really the decision point more comes down to keeping our fleet younger. Steve, you guys do a great job sometimes with, it seems like chicken wire and some duct tape, keeping some of these together and keeping them roadworthy. But, beyond just, the dollar savings, when we have our county staff out in these vehicles, we want to make sure that, they are safe. We want to make sure that they're, able to get home. I think that's really the important part here. I know in working with the deputy sheriffs, even just bringing down that miles on their cars of when we get rid of them. That was a big deal to them because over a certain number of miles, when you're at 85 miles an hour driving and your steering column is shaking and there's nothing your shop you can do about some of those things. That's just kind of what happens over the life of a car. So I think that's important to make sure that we're keeping our employees safe. One of the question I had, like on some lease programs, there's a number of miles per year that you can use the car. In our county, where it's a lot of rural driving, a lot of coming from the valley floor up to the mountains. We've shown on those vehicle miles traveled in rural areas are going to be much more. So I just want to make sure that we're not hindered or limited in what we can do, and we're just worried about, I can't drive up to help that family up in the mountains or out in the ranchos because I've already gone over my allotted miles. So I just want to touch on that, see if there is anything like that or what.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't think that's going to be the issue. The issue is getting enough mileage per year because the county, as diverse as it is, departments have a need for vehicles for the personnel, and they don't always utilize those the number of miles in the past. So we really need to are evaluating not only the need for newer cars, but the size of the departmental fleet, while maybe backfilling that with a pool program that's more aggressive for just the occasional use.
So sometimes we have too large of a fleet, and that's probably because we have to hang on to them for 10 years, right, or get the full use out of them, and they're just in there, and maybe there's not a use for them at the time. Is that...
A little bit of that. Plus, with the economic downturn, we put off replacing cars for about 3 years, and so we have kept them longer. And so this is a way to pilot program to evaluate not only our size of our fleet, but the age of our fleet, the usage, and the dollars saved.
And in terms of growing our fleet, if we need to in certain times and shrinking it, is that fairly simple to do with this program?
Yeah, so to touch too on the mileage piece, the type of lease that we're talking about is an open-end equity lease. So there's no mileage limitations as far as what you think about when you think of like a personal lease or something. It's very different than that. So to Steve's point, what we've done is we've targeted what you're averaging today, and we're basing everything off of that. If you go lower mileage, then essentially that's just going to mean that, one, maybe you hold the vehicle longer, or two, maybe it's just worth more at the point in time that you sell it because it's got a lower odometer reading. And then as far as the fleet growing or shrinking in overall size, there's a lot of flexibility there. So the target is that the county's at a break even at 12 months, if not sooner. In many cases with the acquisition cost you'll have flexibility as soon as 12 months or again sooner. So there's lots of options for if you need to come down in overall size or if you need to expand. There's no issues there.
And we can still beat the heck out of our work trucks if we need to?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Supervisor.
Yes, you can.
So that's right. The program provides a lot of flexibility. So I think the equity assumptions right now is based on $50,000 at year 5, so $10,000 a year. On average, our non-sheriff vehicles average $9,163 per month. Now, some are higher, some are lower. But as Laura had said, part of the service they provide is when they see these vehicles and they're accumulating those miles, is they're going to initiate a conversation saying, you'll get more equity if you sell it now at year 3.
So you'll provide us with financial decision points, to, whether to cut out of a car and get a new one. Perfect.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yeah, thank you. It's a great idea, I think, too. What do we have to go out to a competitive bid with this? I mean, nothing new. Dolores, right?
Laura.
Laura. Oh, okay. I wrote down Laura. Dolores. Laura. I mean, I'm not. You know, I think you're doing a great job, but I just want to make sure whether we have to go out to a competitive bid for this or not.
Right. Supervisor, the first resolution you're approving is participating into that interlocal agreement. That actually is a. It's like a separate entity that does a competitive bid for these types of programs, so that we meet the competitive bid requirements. So we make sure that whoever we sign with went through a competitive and they're the best deal. It's similar to what we use for fire trucks. There's an interlocal agency where governments, whether it's California, Texas, that participate, gets the advantage of competitively bid contract without having to redo the competitive bid process.
Okay,
so that's the first resolution that's recommended for today.
Good. Well, you got that under control. So I noticed also it was in Texas. Is there any sales tax on rental cars or lease cars?
Yeah, on the leases in the state of California, you pay a monthly use tax, so it's based on the tax rate in County of Madera. It's billed monthly with the lease payment.
We still get that, then Texas don't get it.
I'm sorry, what?
We get the tax, Texas don't get it.
Yeah, it's based on the County of Madera's tax rate, so it's not going to Texas. It's just that's where the cooperative is based. But yeah, great question.
They get all of our people already.
I'm shocked that California has a tax that Texas doesn't.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
We'll take it on to the public. No comment from the public. Bring it back to the board.
Move forward on it. Item 1 and 2.
Second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, 1 absent.
Thank you. Did you come all the way out from Texas?
I didn't.
Your office is here, huh? Okay.
Item 8C, County Administration Department, Risk Management and Legal Services Division. Introduction of an ordinance amending Chapter 2.18.060 and Chapter 2.18.200 of Title II of the Madera County Code pertaining to purchasing agent authority and informal bidding procedures.
Good afternoon, Darren McCallum with the County Administrative Office. This item before you seeks to amend 2 specific county code sections dealing with the authority of the purchasing agent. The first one affects what we commonly refer to as purchasing agent agreements or PA agreements. The second has to do with informal bidding procedures on specific public projects. So with respect to PA agreements, as your board knows, there's 2 types of contracts that we utilize here. There's the board agreements that come before your board and are approved weekly. You see those on the consent calendar primarily. And there is a second type of agreement that does not come before the board that is let through the purchasing agent office with review from county council, the auditor controller, and the CAO. And these are agreements that are limited to $10,000. So that $10,000 authority mirrors the level of authority in Government Code Section 25502. When this ordinance was adopted in 1992, both the county ordinance and the statute had a $10,000 limit. In the period of time since, the statutory limit has increased to $50,000, while the county limit has remained at $10,000. So the proposed amendment would set the level at $50,000 equivalent to the statutory limit, as well as include some automatic increase language so that when that level increases, so too does the county ordinance. It would still maintain the same level of review. It would still go through county council, CAO, and other controller. There'd be fewer items coming before your board, and would allow for departments to kind of take advantage of a streamlined, expeditious process to get some of these service contracts in place quickly. The second proposed amendment has to do with informal bidding requirements. It's similar in that this second code section contemplates particular public projects that are below a statutory limit. So the limit that the county ordinance provides for is $75,000. And again, that is a limit that used to be found in the public contract code on which the ordinance is based. So in that time, the statutory level has also increased to $175,000, while the county's has remained $75,000. So the second proposed amendment would again set that county limit equal to the statutory limit of $175,000, and also include that automatic escalator language to capture any future increases. And with that, I'm available for questions.
Is that what you're recommending, 75,000?
We're currently at 75,000. We're recommending 175,000 to set it equal with the statutory limit.
Sounds good.
I agree with you. Let's put traffic. Take it up to the public. Bring it back. Move to approve.
Second.
So, County Council, to clarify, today was the introduction, and it'll be heard again on December 19th. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
But the motion's still proper for the introduction.
Okay.
It's moved to approve the introduction of the ordinance, and then it will come back and waive the first reading. Yeah, that language. It's not a public hearing. It's a public item because we're out here on regular agenda, but it's not the type that needs a notice public hearing in the newspaper as we did earlier. But I think the motion is still proper.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. And the mover was Supervisor Rogers?
I'll second.
All right. Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent. Number 9, pending legislation. Discuss, support, or oppose legislation presented by supervisors and/or staff. I'm not aware of anything. We have a letter under supervisors and staff reports. Okay.
I just got one. I went to the Sierra-Tel's their longevity award dinner Saturday night, and I think we got people just as equal or better than they did, and it was really nice seeing that today. The awards, 20 to 30 years like that, it's just amazing. So I think our organization has stepped up to the plate now.
Mm-hmm. None?
I can't think of anything. I know I had something on my agenda, but my mind just went blank.
I've got tomorrow the San Joaquin River Conservancy. I think Melissa's going to read a letter regarding the River West. So I was formally, I'm just going to say, Max as my alternate. I think you should just step in and go to that meeting.
I'm not going to be available.
I'm getting a little sick.
Yeah, you got too close to me. Huh? That's going to be a rough one, the Parkway.
So I think we'll go with the 5B with one, with some immediate timelines that then goes into alternative 1, I think, which is the street one coming in off the street. 5B would be coming off of Palm and Knees, which I think is. It's nice that not having to be the Madera guy, and I can just do it without having to worry about all the people that are upset and just say,
right.
Hey, this is really what I think is the best. But what's up?
And it should have been done a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, Board. I'm Melissa DeSilva, Chief of Staff to Supervisor Frazier. Before you should have a draft letter to Brian Kelly, the Secretary of the California State Transportation Agency. Yes, okay. The San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority is asking for direction from your board for a letter of support for a grant application seeking funding under the Transit and Intercity Rail Capital Program for improved passenger rail service. The use of the grant will go towards better access to Sacramento, funding to enable 2 daily round trips to Sacramento, and the goal is to be able to get you to Sacramento in time for early morning meetings. So it will leave early, but you can probably, avoid actually driving to Sac. More frequency of service, direct connection to the Bay Area, and lastly, but certainly not least, is the relocation of the Madera Amtrak station. So they're asking for a letter of support. Their grant application is due mid-January. So I'm looking for direction from your board.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Anything else? And we'll go back and
Closed session, huh?
close session.
I know. Yeah.
County Council.
Chairman, there are no reportable actions from closed session.
All right. Move to adjourn. We're adjourned.